Welcome back to the ENT Podcast. This is going to be our championship preview. I am your host, Erik, and I'm going to be giving you 3 keys for each team and what they need to accomplish to win. I'm going to give you my picks, and I'm going to tell you why each team's going to win. And we're going to start off with the NFC Championship, Rams at the Saints. I'm going to give you the Saints keys to the game first, and then I'll give you the Rams, and then I'll tell you who's going to win. Starting off, number 1, obviously the Saints are at home. They need their crowd to be a factor. They want it to be silent when they're on offense and very loud when they're on defense. Hopefully, if that works out for them, the Rams will be able to communicate as well on offense. Jared Goff might struggle, maybe force a couple penalties. That's what the Saints need from their crowd to get involved, maybe be a bit of an X factor at a home game, which shouldn't be too hard. New Orleans fans are very loyal, very passionate. I expect this to happen. Moving on to number 2, I think Michael Thomas has to have 100 yards or more receiving and a touchdown, and that is just because he is their entire passing game. Benjamin Watson, their tight end, is injured. I know he only got 2 touchdowns in the regular season, but he was a solid veteran tight end option that they don't have anymore, and so I'm just going to say Michael Thomas needs to have at least a big game for a regular receiver's standard. This should be a pretty average playoff performance for Michael Thomas, but he needs to do it for the Saints to win. Moving on to the third and final point, or key to the game, is the Saints' run defense needs to do what they've done all season and get teams into third and about 6+, third and long, basically. And what this would do is eliminate play action for the Rams, which is what the Rams do best. If the Saints' running defense can stop the Rams on first and second down and lead to 3rd and 6s, 3rd and 7s, 3rd and 8s, things like that, then the Rams will be able to get those huge plays off play action that they love so much and that they do so often, which is why they were so successful against the Cowboys. They had so many rushing yards against the Cowboys, and that set up great play action plays. So if the Saints can be disciplined and great against the run, that'll take away a lot of what the Rams want to do against the pass. So that's a huge key for the Saints, and if they do that, I think it goes a long way towards helping them win. Now, looking at the Rams, their keys to the game is going to be they need to end the 25-game streak of the Saints holding teams under 100 yards rushing. The Saints did it to them when they played before. The Rams need to rush over 100 yards in this game. I don't care who does it, C.J. Anderson or Todd Gurley. They need to rush for over 100 yards. They need to establish the run. They need to use play action, get big plays. That's how they're going to win. And my second key to the game for the Rams is they need to force Brees into targeting wide receivers other than Michael Thomas. Drew Brees has been fantastic when covering Michael Thomas, and he's been pretty great when he's not. But clearly his other options are not as good, and they need to force him to target them, hopefully cause a mistake, hopefully just use superior DBs against weaker second and third wide receivers to make big plays. That is a huge key for the Rams. And the third and final key is they can't play catch-up like last game and give the Saints an early lead. When they did this, it sort of took immediately the play action out of their playbook. It's just harder to establish a running game when you're already down 7 to 14 points. You know, it's just they're not set up to not be able to run the ball and do play action and come back. So if they give up a big early lead to the Saints, it's going to be a lot easier for the Saints to defend them rather than it's a tight game and they can do running or passing and especially play action. So those are my keys for each team, and because of that, I'm going to pick the Saints to win. I think they'll be able to stop the run just like they've done 25 games in a row and, limit the play action effectiveness of the Rams and lead to a Saints W, and that's why I think New Orleans is going to the Super Bowl. Moving on to the AFC Championship game, it's going to be Patriots at the Chiefs. I'm going to start off with the Patriots' keys to the game. Now, the first one is I think they need to take advantage of Patrick Mahomes' willingness to throw the ball anywhere and take huge risks. I think they're going to need to force a turnover if they have any hope of winning this game. And, if they can win the turnover battle, usually the Patriots win. And so this is a huge key for me. I know Patrick Mahomes gets so many big plays because he's willing to take risks, but if they can get 1 or 2 in this game to go against the Chiefs and get a turnover, then that's going to be huge, and that's going to go a long ways for the Patriots winning. Now, number 2 is they must establish Sony Michel and control the clock. I'm talking multiple 5-minute drives. They need to keep the scoring down and limit Kansas City's offensive possessions. By doing this, they will also wear down the Chiefs' defense, which over time will just make the run more and more successful. So if they can do this and just control the clock, I think first and second quarter is going to be huge. First half running game, whether they can control the clock and maybe take an early lead and not give Kansas City much time to even do anything with the ball or establish anything, will be huge. And that's sort of how they've been playing out this whole season. So I do have confidence in the Patriots' ability to do that, but I think everything's harder in the playoffs, so this is going to be a real big key for them. And lastly, I think that they must have a pass rush like they did against the Chargers. They had 28 pressures against the Chargers. And, a fun fact is the Patriots, since Week 12, have the highest percentage in the NFL, including the playoffs, on pressures per snap or per drawback. Their percentage is 32.3, which is phenomenal. That's about 1/3 of the time the quarterback drops back, the Patriots getting pressure. That's huge. If they can do that against the Chiefs, they're going to get a lot of success. Patrick Mahomes is a young quarterback, and I'm not sure if he's getting pressured all day long, he's going to be willing to stand up and sort of throw the ball down the field like he has all season. It's going to be cold. It's going to be hard. This will be probably the toughest game of his entire life. So I think if they can do that, along with the other two things, establishing the run and forcing a turnover, it'll go a long way towards them winning. And I think if they can do all three of these things, they'll be guaranteed a win. Moving on to the Chiefs and their three keys to the game, I'm saying that they need to have an effective pass rush with Chris Jones, Justin Houston, and Dee Ford against Tom Brady. And they did tie for the league lead in sacks, so it's not to say that they can't do it, but something that Brady does great is getting the ball out very fast. So it's going to be very difficult. And to do that, they're going to need a lot of help from the DBs on their team, making Brady hold the ball. So I'm not quite sure if they can do it. They're going to have to if they want to win, because Brady will kill them with 1,000 cuts. That's how he's made success his entire career. It's been, drop back 2 seconds, the ball's out. So if they can get to him, make it in about 2.5 seconds, 3 seconds, have the DBs make him hold the ball, then they'll have a lot of success. And my second point is Mahomes can't make mistakes when he takes risks. He did it last time they played the Patriots, and it's very hard to beat the Pats when you lose the turnover battle, as he found out in Week 6. I think if he has a clean game, plays good, doesn't have to play great, has a really good team, and he's clean, doesn't make any turnovers, I think they're going to have a real good chance to win if they don't give Tom Brady any extra possessions. And lastly, I think that they need to limit the run game and stop the Patriots from controlling the game. The Patriots are going to want to stop Kansas City from having multiple possessions. They're going to want to control the ball, use up all the clock. Kansas City cannot let them do that. So if they want to win, they're going to need to stop the run a lot better than the Chargers did, and a lot better than a lot of teams have been doing this entire season. Now, Sony Michel has been kind of a different back than what the Patriots are used to. He's very good. We haven't had a downhill, the Patriots. I'm trying not to be, picking favorites here. The Patriots haven't had a runner like Sony Michel downhill like this since, I can't even remember. They've had people like James White and Deion Lewis that can go outside and catch passes, but it's very rare that the Patriots have a runner like this lately. So if they can stop the run, the Chiefs, then they have a really good chance of winning this game. Now, my pick for this game probably won't surprise too many people. It's going to be the Patriots in a real close one. I think what this comes down to is Tom Brady's experience in the playoffs. He's been there before. He's seen everything they'll throw against him. I think Bill Belichick, having so much tape on Patrick Mahomes, he has more tape than anyone ever had on Patrick Mahomes. This will be the second time playing him. We saw what happened when Lamar Jackson was played against the second time. It didn't work as well. I'm not saying Lamar Jackson is on, the same level as Patrick Mahomes, but all I'm saying is once you play someone twice, it is easier in some senses. So I think Bill Belichick having a second look at this team and Tom Brady's experience in the playoffs, I think that is just, adding up for a Patriots win. I'm not saying it's going to be a big win. My prediction would be about 3 points either way. That will conclude my championship week preview. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I look forward to talking to you next week.